Hello everyone, this is Satyaprakash. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll describe how Git maintains history of version ID and commit ID. So before going through this video, please visit my last part of GitHub tutorial, and I have added this link in my description part. So in this part, I'll describe that how Git maintains history of version or commit ID, how Git maintains version controlling system, and how Git maintains commit IDs during push the changes from local Git repo to GitHub repository, and what is addition and deletion symbol after the push changes in your GitHub repository. Now let's begin how Git maintains version ID or commit ID. So I will go to my local dev1 workspace. So I'll click here, go to the local dev1 workspace here, and here I'll just open this Satya2 repository. Here these files already have created in my last videos part, so no need to describe again. I just open this git bash here. So here what I'll do, I will pull the changes from GitHub remote repository to my local Git repository here. Now I'll execute this command git pull and press enter. So you'll see what the changes will be happen here. You can see already up to date, because this GitHub repository, whatever files are showing, all these files with latest changes have been available in our local Git repository. So that's why Git cannot find any changes or new modification in GitHub repository. That's why it shows that already up to date. Now that means there is no changes available in GitHub repository. So if you go to my local Git repository, and here I'll click on this .git directory, then you can find a file called head. So how to get the head file here? Here the head file, and there you can see one. I'll click here, right click, I want to open on the notepad, this one the unknown extension, that's why I want to open it using my notepad here. So it will ask about which file extensions you need to open this head file. I select as notepad here, click OK. Then you can see your path here, ref path, refs and / and heads and / main. So I will go to this path only. So we need to go this path and find out the file called main as. So here I'll go to the refs folder, and here the heads folder, and here you can see the main file. I need to open this file here. This file is nothing but, this name is nothing but our name of our GitHub default branch. So you can see here the default branch is our main branch. After the cloning, this file has been created in our local Git repository. That's why it's called main. So if you'll create a new file, for example Satya, then after the clone these changes, you'll get this one file name called Satya here in the same path, heads folder, and you'll get here the Satya file here. This is nothing but the branch name. Okay, now I will open this using notepad to check the commit ID. So I'll open this using notepad here, and here I can see that some random numbers are showing. So this is nothing but the commit ID or version ID. So as per an earlier discussion, Git is a version controlling system, and it maintains a version for each modification we perform. That means if you modify one file called myfile.cs, there will be another commit ID will be generated, and if we change myfile2.cs and push the changes for this separate file, it will create another commit ID for these changes to GitHub repository as well as local Git repository here. That's why it maintains a version for each modification we perform. So if we go to my remote GitHub repository here and check this version ID, so here you can see here 7 commits. So 7 commits, nothing but the 7 changes has been modified and pushed 7 times. So I'll click here and 7 commits link. Here we can see that the version ID in the short format, something FDBCB68. So to show the details of this version ID, what is the short form you are showing, I want to change the full details of this version ID. By click on the commit message here. You can see here, before I commit this message, that is pushed file by local div1, I just click here, and after click on this link, you can see here this full version of commit ID. It's showing this commit ID. Something is full details about showing. So now, after click on this commit ID changes, commit ID message link, you can see the full version of version ID in details. So the same commit ID shown in both local Git repository and GitHub repository, as I have already described here. So you can see the same commit ID what you seeing here in local Git repository of main file, the same commit ID after the push the changes to our remote GitHub repository. Okay, now I will show something very interesting here. So before, I have described already that my file.cs and my file2.cs has been pushed to our GitHub repository. So here you can see some plus and plus symbols here. So here plus symbols is nothing but the additions, or minus is nothing but the deletion. Minus is not showing. I'll show you after this discussion. So plus is nothing but the new contents are added or new lines are added here. Now I will make some changes to my file.cs on the local dev1. So I go to dev1 workspace here, click here. I want to change this file, my file.cs. You just go to edit, and here I will add one new property, that public string, and the property name is country name, and I want to get and set type for this specific property, a string property, that is country name. I just want to give a space here. I want to save these changes. That's the new line I have added, nothing but the property name. After this save, I close this file. I go to this git bash. I want to open this git bash. Okay, now I want to check the status what I have made changes in my file.cs, whatever modification has been done in this file. So I want to write one command called Git Status. So you can see the details of untracked file and changed not staged for a commit are described in, I already have described in my previous article. So untracked is nothing but this files is not available to my staging area, and changes are not staged for commit. That means it was available in my staging area. It is the existing file, but after some changes, it is again available to ready to be committed to our staging area. That's why it comes under changes not staged for commit section. Now I want to clear the screen here. So I want some so what I'll do now here is I want to commit this my file.cs to my staging area. So before commit, I want one command Git Add. This one is for add to my staging area. Git Add my file.cs, press enter. So my file has been added successfully to my staging area. Now what I'll do here, I want to check the status now. Let's see what the status was there and now what the status after adding this file to my staging area. You can see the status is changed now, changes to be committed. That means the file color is changed to the green instead of red. So that means my file has been added to my staging area. It is ready to be committed to my local Git repository, and after then it will be pushed to my GitHub repository, and the same untracked file as remaining as it was, that is my file 3.cs. Now what I'll do here, I will commit these changes now to my local Git repository. Before that, I want to clear the screen and git commit -m. I write one message for this added country name property. So that is nothing but the commit message. So I want to press enter here. So you can see the added country name property, and one file is changed, one insertions. One file is nothing but my file.cs, one insertion is nothing but country name added line was there, new line was there in my file.cs. So that means my file has been added successfully to the local Git repository. So the work related to my local is done. Now only one changes to that I want to move these changes to our remote GitHub repository. Now I will check one interesting part here. I want to go to the local.git repository now. I'll go here. I want to just close this existing whatever I'm opening before. I open this .git folder, and here I will go to the reps folder, and here heads folder, and open this main file using notepad. So there you can see the different commit ID. So before that the commit ID was different, like FBCD68, but after commit these changes to my local Git repository, my repository had generated other commit ID. Now you can see here. So I just want to open this main file using notepad. So you can see the different commit ID is generated after the commit these changes. So 048CF815060B1CB. Now how to get this commit ID to my local GitHub repository? It was the old one, right, what I have done before. So after push these changes, the same commit ID what you see here in my local Git repository, it will available to my GitHub repository. So every time Git maintains the different version ID based on each and every modification and tracks the history. So Git is called a version controlling system. Now we check the same version ID should be there in GitHub repository. For this, Git should be push these files from local GitHub to remote GitHub repository. So I want to push these changes now. Now I'll go to the workspace here, open this git bash. I want to execute one command called git push, alias is nothing but the origin and main branch. So click here, enter. So these files will start for pushing the operations, and all the changes and modifications from local Git repository to my remote GitHub repository. So now the files has been successfully pushed from my local Git repository to GitHub repository. Now you can see that as of now I have one branch called main, which is the default one. Instead of command that is git push origin main, we can give only as git push. So because as of now it is only one branch is there, so no need to write the whole command. Instead I can write only the git push here. Okay, instead of write the full command using alias and the main branch name. If there are multiple branches, for example main1, main2, main3, master, then I will mention this alias name origin and mention this branch name. So as of now I have mentioned only the git push for push these changes, so no need to execute again. I already have executed this one. Okay, now what will happen is, so we should follow this command is git push alias name of git repo branch name. So according to this format I have given git push origin main. So here origin is the alias name here and main is the branch name here. As I already have pushed the changes using a command that is git push, so here when I run using command git push origin main, then it shows that everything is up to date. So if you only execute this command git push, so it will show that is the up to date status here. That means there is no such changes up, everything is up to date. That means there is no changes available in my local git repository. Everything has been pushed the changes to my GitHub repository. Now I want to go to my GitHub repository, then I can see the latest changes with the newly comments added and the commit changes here, including message as well as including commit message and commit ID. So I just want to refresh this repository. So here you can see one branch as it was before, main branch, the main default branch, and here the commit message is showing added country name property. Here you can see the message name has been successfully updated, and before it was 7 commits. After push these changes it was updated to the 8 commits and 6 minutes ago. And if I click here 8 commits, you can see all the commit changes, what was done now and what was done before. So before the generated commit ID was FBC68, and after this current changes it was updated to 048CF81, what in my local git repository it was generated. So I want to change this full version of commit ID. I want to click here. Now you can see the full version of commit ID generated, what it was my local git repository. Now you can see also my file.cs with new changes, that is public string country name and the one addition symbol here, and there is no deletion. So now the added content of my file.cs is showing here, and here I want to see another thing is, that is here you can see here, right, 1 addition and 0 deletion, but I want to see how the deletion it shows plus for addition and what it shows for deletion. So for this I go to this dev1 workspace here. I want to open this file using edit. So I want to remove one line here. I want to remove this first line, that is public string first name here. I want to save these changes. Now I open this git bash here. So I will check the status. So you can see this files has been under change not stage for commit, and my file 3.cs under untracked files. So I want to clear the screen and I want to add these changes to my staging area. Whatever my file.cs is modified. So now my file.cs is added to my staging area. I want to check the status here. So my file is ready to be committed to my local git repository, and untracked file is as it was before my file 3.cs. Now I want to push these changes from local git to GitHub repository. whatever the steps I already have following before that. Now I want to clear the screen. Okay, I want to clear the screen. I want to commit these changes. Git commit -m and remove first name property. So this line has been removed from my file. I click the enter here. You can see here that is one file is changed with one insertion and one deletion here, right? So deletion is updated here now. Now I want to push these changes to my GitHub repository. So I don't need to mention origin and main, so I just put it as git push because here is only one branch is there. So git push. Now it will be pushed to my GitHub repository. So here we can see the successful message that my whatever changes has been successfully pushed from my local git to my remote GitHub repository. So now what will happen here you can see the deletion, right? So deletion means that local dev 1 has removed one line, that is first name property. So I want to go to my GitHub repository. I want to refresh. I want to some changes made by the local dev 1 to my file.cs. So here you can see the commit message is generated here, remove first name property, and here I'll show you another thing. Whatever changes has been made, some commit ID is generated, right? So I'll go to here and go to my heads folder, and I open this main file using notepad. So you remember already that before what generated ID it was, now it is generated ID it was after removing one line, some 1885. So now I'll check this ID in GitHub as well. Now this commit message is updated 1 minute ago. It commits, its number of commits has been updated from 8 to 9. I want to click here, 9 commits. So here today I have committed 2 times. One is added country name property and remove first name property. So there is different IDs generated from added country name property, and different ID name has been generated for my remove first name property. Now I will click this remove first name property link to check the details of the commit ID. So you can see here the commit ID, what is it was showing in my local Git repository. It was showing same commit ID. It was showing now my GitHub repository after successfully push these changes from local Git to remote GitHub repository. Now we can see that showing one changed files with one addition and one deletion here. See man, so one deletion that I have removed one this line, right? First name property I have been removed, that's why it is showing minus symbol with a pink background color, and here I added one new line, that's why it is called plus symbol. So that's how it works. To remove line it shows one minus symbol, to add a new line it shows plus symbol. So you got clear, right, what difference between addition and deletions symbol as well. It's nothing but the called insertions and deletions. In the git bash command you can check the it is different name with one insertions and one deletions, but after push these changes in GitHub repository it's showing one addition and one deletion. That means same, both are same meaning of these two changes. Okay, now what I'll do here, so that's all about how Git maintains the version ID and commit ID before commit ID during every modification of files between GitHub local Git repository and GitHub repository here. And you can see the times here. 4 minutes ago I have pushed these changes and the commit has been updated as well. As many you have push these changes from local Git to GitHub repository, and each file has different commit message. Here for this file I have commit dash removed first name property, and before my file 2.cs during push I have added this commit message pushed files by local dev 1. So 23 hours ago I have pushed this one. So that's how Git maintains and tracks the history of each and every modification. So let's go to my slide here, and here I'll check at what is version or commit ID in Git. So a Git commit ID is a SHA-1 hash of every important thing about the commit. So it contains some below details. So commit date, committer's name, and log message, and the ID of previous commits. So that all details has been stored under particular commit ID section. Now you can see here that go to here GitHub repository. So what I describe in slide, that the who change this file, username, commit message, commit date and time, and types of and number of commits here. Now, so that's all about version and commit ID. So please subscribe and share my channel to get the up-to-date knowledge on .NET, .NET Core, C#, SQL Server, Angular, DevOps, GitHub, and Git, as well as Jenkins integration with GitHub. So here I'll tell you about that. Go to my summary, what we have learned today, that is how Git maintains history of version or commit IDs, how Git maintains version controlling systems, and what are the steps Git maintains commit IDs or version IDs during push changes from local Git to GitHub, and what are the difference between addition and deletion symbol means. So thanks for guys, thank you for listening, have a great day.